Hey, so you have decided to become a product manager, and that's a great choice. But one thing that nobody tells you about this transition is that all transitions are not equal. And why so? You have seen some of the developers, some of the people around analysts or others can able to transition within 3 months, 6 months. Whereas there are people who are taking 2 years to transitions, and that too from sales, marketing, and others. And why so? In this video, we are exactly going to capture that. Hi, I'm Abhik. I have transitioned myself from finance at Nike to product leader at Amazon, where I launched product which is being used by people on a daily basis. And I also helped 70 plus people to transition into product manager role in the last 2 years. Let's stick to this video and let's understand why all transitions are not equal and what are the critical gaps that you must keep in mind while you make this transition happen. So here you go. So this is a kind of a matrix that I have created for you all to understand the transition difficulty and see where you fit into this matrix. Okay, so to understand this metric, you need to understand two very critical points. One is technical fluency, where everyone coming from a non-tech background has the question, hey, I'm a non-tech guy. How can I get into product management? I don't know coding. I don't know technicality. So how can I do that? So that is one thing that everyone asks, and I'll explain you why that is important and what level you should know about it. And then there is another thing called a strategic ownership. What is the strategic ownership? Where you, in your product manager role, you have to take decisions on a daily basis, whether you should proceed, not proceed, whether you should, go ahead and do the stuff or not do the stuff. You have to go ahead and take decisions, and most importantly you will have no much data to take decisions. So we will understand first what is technical fluency you needed and what is the strategic ownership you needed, right? And then in this matrix we'll plot the roles that you all are into, maybe falling within that roles, and if you not, then comment on this video. I will make a specific transition video on that. Okay, so let's understand what is technical fluency in terms of product manager, right? Or a product management. See, the product management can be done in two ways. One for a digital product and one for a physical product. Okay, what is digital and a physical product? So digital product are the one which you use daily: Zomato, Swiggy, Uber, Ola, then you use Zerodha, Grow. These are all digital products. They are helping you use your mobile and app to make things done for you. So this is set of digital product. Now what is physical product? Now in this physical product is something where you are designing maybe a music system in car. It's a physical design. You are designing a washing machine, you are designing a toothbrush, right? It can be a physical design. In this transition difficulty, what we are talking about, the technical fluency, is basically about being a digital product manager. Okay, you are understanding about making the transition into a digital product manager role. When it comes to the digital, you will be using clients like laptop, right, or mobile. Okay, you will be using something like VR. Those are the inputs. So you will be using, your product will be used by any of these methods and through apps. We call it apps, whether in Android apps or Apple iOS, or through website, right? We will use the app. Now if you are building a feature or a product which is leveraging these areas for sure, then you are transitioning into a digital product. And if you are listening to this video, you all are aspiring to become a product manager into the digital world. Now that you understood what is a digital product, let's understand about the technical fluency. Okay, now when it comes to the technical fluency, you typically understand that we need to learn Python, we need to learn other coding, we need to do something hands-on on the overall architecture and everything. That's not true. A technical fluency means that, for example, you want to develop a product which will help people to move from position A to position B, or point A to point B. Typically I'm saying Uber. Now if you see Uber as a digital product manager, so when you talk about the technical fluency, you need to understand that there would be one customer facing app, there would be one driver facing app, right? And these two apps should be centralized with a particular central systems, where the customer place order goes to the central system, and the systems will go and track where the driver is, the driver responded, and then it comes back. Now what I draw here is a very, 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 very super high level architecture. Okay, now behind this app, behind this central system, behind this app of the driver, there are other small micro systems that work. So you as a product manager, when you want to understand a technical fluency, you need to understand how much of this microservices will be worked upon. Okay, what are the small services that is required? It can be a database, it can be a small storage, or can be cache, and all those things. So you need to understand the architecture. Just think that you decided to build your own house in a plot, right? So you have purchased a land plot that's there. Now you want to build a house. So for that house building, you need cement, you need sand, you need bricks, right? Now these all small things are the components of the tech architecture, right? And you are not going to mix them and build that house. There are people who will mix it and build that house. So similarly, you need to know what are the components that would be required here. Okay, so that is called a technical fluency. You need to understand that part. And why this is important to understand technical fluency is because if you understand the technical fluency, you will able to communicate with your engineers and, or we call it, developers, and explain them what explicitly you want them to do. And at the same time, if a developer comes to you and say that, hey, I am blocked because there is some database issue, you are not thinking at that point in time, what is that database issue? What is that caching issue that is happening? So that's the reason you need to have a technical fluency. Then we need to understand about the strategic ownership. Now, what is the strategic ownership? Okay, it's a very fantastic word, strategic, and you all typically aspire to go into the level of in the hierarchy where you are able to take decisions, right? And as a product manager, you will be taking decisions on a daily basis. When I say daily basis, for example, how it will look is that you are already developing a feature A, and you already have a roadmap for next 3 months that you have to work and deliver it to the customers. Now, what happens? There will be engineer team who will come and say that, hey, I am blocked. I'm not able to understand this X, this Y, and you as a product manager has to understand their requirement and unblock them so that you can able to deliver the stuff in 3 months. So again, there will be situations where you need to do something called trade off. Okay, when you do a trade off, which means that if the engineer say that, hey, if you are going to use a database which you have to build up from the scratch, we might not met the 3 months timeline to develop the app or develop the feature. In the same case, the developer might suggest you to use any third-party database which can be connected easily and can able to deliver in 3 months. Now, you as a product manager has to give that approval, what to do, right? So that is one area. Then there will be another area where your leaders team, which can be your manager, your senior manager, or CEO, or the top level can come and say that, hey, you are working in these 3 months of roadmap, which is great, but you know what, our competitor has done Y, and we want to do Y. Okay, now you have to have this strategic ownership to tell or make your leaders understand that why this path would be important to do, and we can do a first follow of why. Okay, so that is what is called a strategic ownership, and you need to do that. So now that you understood about the strategic ownership and a technical fluency, you need to understand this metrics. So what I have done here, I have done here the strategic ownership on this axis and the technical fluency on the horizontal axis. Now it is starting from 0, and say it is 100 here and it is 100 here, right? So now if this is the level of skills that is needed, this box that I have drawn is the ideal zone for product managers. This is the ideal PM zone for the product managers. If you have a high technical fluency and if you have a high strategic ownership, you can transition to product management easily. With that being said, let's understand where each one of you from different roles falls into. Let's go ahead with it. So we have product owner, somebody who is working as a product owner. He or she is already working in the product domain. So product owner has a high chance, and product owner is already in the product management role hierarchy, right? And is into the box under the product manager. But sometimes for the product owner, it becomes very difficult to become a product manager. right? So as a product owner, you can see the technical fluency is still there, and they also a little higher on the strategic ownership perspective. So for them to become a product manager is a matter of understanding how to communicate, how to build bringing more strategical thought process so that they can be trusted by their leaders, that they can take strategic decision as a product manager and can transition into product manager from product owner. Okay, now comes the business analyst. Now if you talk about the business analyst, you can again see that the business analyst falls under a high tech technical fluency, but again from a strategic point of view they're below par, like below, little below than the par. So for them also transitioning here would be easy. Okay, so for business analyst also, the transitioning from here to here would be easy. Okay, so they might need another 3 months, 4 months to get into transitions if they work right. Right, then comes the program manager, which is a very complicated position, and you can see they sit in just between the technical fluency. They also have a technical fluency, and at the same time they will also have a strategic ownership, because they are the one who makes things done. What the program manager do? A program manager takes the goal that we have to achieve A by working with multiple work streams or multiple teams and get that work done. And in that scenario, the program managers will work with product, tech, legal, other teams and make things happen. So, as a program manager, if you can move into a product manager much faster than any other role. Now, these three roles is what I call is tier one roles, which are much easier to get into product role. Okay, now let's move to the another set of role, which is developer and QA. Now if you see about a developer, which is tier 2 developer, and a QA, right? So the developer is already very high on the technical fluency. They know what to build and what not to build, how to build, what are the challenges and everything. And they are sometimes, if you are a senior developer, you are a little more into the strategic decisions where you are talking with your senior developer managers, you're talking with the product managers and trying to understand and able to present thought process over there. Now if you are a senior developer manager, now you have a little bit more high strategic role, and the technical fluency still remain the same, but you have more. So transition from being a senior dev to product much easier than a developer a little bit. Okay, so developer is again a kind of an I call it as a tier 2, and then comes the QA engineer or the DevOps. Okay, now QA engineers, if you see, has the technical fluency. DevOps will also have the technical fluency, but the strategic ownership is not there because they are always guided that what they need to do. Okay, so for example, a QA is always included at the testing phase, right? And as when the product is got developed in the mid stage, or maybe after the product discussion has happened, they got involved, and from there they just take orders that they have to test these use cases or they have to test those use cases, and that's it, right? So they don't get included in the initial discussions where the product is need to be prepared. So strategically they are low at the bar, but from a technical fluency they know how things work, and same with the DevOps as well. So from transitioning here QA and DevOps to product management is also easy, can take 4 to 6 months as well. Okay, so you need to understand that part. Then we have the another tier 2 position, which is called a marketing manager, who is actually working on not only on performance marketing, but they are also working on the GTM plan, GTM, creating a particular product, launching them by discussing with the clients, or understanding the requirement and helping them to do it. Okay, so marketing manager is also falling into the tier 2, and if you can see, the technical fluency is less, but they are a little higher on the strategic. So for them also, switching over to product manager can be possible and is easy to do so. Okay, now this is called tier 2, what I call it. Now comes the tier 3, which is hard to transition. Okay, so let's understand which are those roles. Sales is one of them. Sales is every month they have a target they have to meet, and there is barely a much of strategical thought process. They only take the feedbacks from the customer while making the sales and pass it on to the above team to check or wait if they do some changes. Okay. Now, this is where I have transitioned from. I was in finance, and from here, I have moved into this zone. And I have done this by moving myself towards the ladder here. More importantly, I first work in increasing in this role where my strategic ownership is much high. And then once I reached here, then I started developing this. And that's why I was able to land into the product manager role. Okay. So finance is another one which will take. So for me, the whole transition take 1.5 years in my personal experience, and it was a quite a hectic, because though I know the strategic ownership part, I increased there, but the knowing the technical was very hard for me. So I have to spend multiple hours, like I don't remember that, to understand tech with the developers and everything, right? So this is how I have transitioned. I focused here first in understanding the strategic ownership a lot, because that gives me a quick leverage, and I can do that because I know the P&Ls, I know how the functioning, what is the profitability and everything. And at the same time, once I understood that, when once my leaders earned trust about it, that yes, he can take a strategic decisions, that is where I started moving here into the technical fluency part. Same with the operations. Operations are little in a very tougher side, where your technical fluency is low and your strategic ownership is low. So, and the customer support is also same, where your technical influence or the fluency is low, as well as the strategic ownership. Now the question is, then Abhik, should we all try to transition over there? Yes, of course, you all can do that, but you need to understand that you have to either grow as an operation towards this area fast. You should actually target this fast, that how can you own more and more strategic ownership, right? Once you are this area, then you start moving towards this area of gaining the technical fluency, right? Just learning about some code or thing will not help you there. Your leaders and your work should be more strategically influenced, right? That is what you need to move. So typical roadmap for an operation would be to move into a program manager role, and customer support to increase the fluency, and then move into program manager role, and from here to move here. So that is how you all can think about the transition. Now, this is the difficulty metrics that you all must need to know. Okay, this is very much important for you all to know, that becoming a product manager in 90 days or 120 days is not possible. See, I have hired people in Amazon as a product manager, and I have never hired somebody who just did a 90 days course or a 120 days course. It does not happen. It's a pure mindset change that you all need to understand. Okay. And that's what I'm telling you. This transition difficulty matrix is something that you must know. I hope you all are clear. Now let's understand three critical gaps everyone must bridge this. Okay. So technical fluency, as I have told you. So now that you know that you have a technical fluency, then how can you do that? So let me give you my example first, that I have worked on a like almost 400 million plus billing automation project, where I have done payment gateway integration, database architecture, API contract, right? So if you could see, I come from finance, and first thing that I did, I never shift out of finance. I was a product manager for a billing platform, right? So I have kept working, keeping the finance as my root. Okay. And that's how I move into this automation. I started creating integrations. I started understanding integrations. And once I understood the integrations, I tried to figure out that where it impacts. And then I have able to do it. So that's how I was able to do. But unlike anybody else, I consider myself blessed or lucky that I got an opportunity to learn while I was doing the job. Okay. But for many of you all, you might not have that proficiency, or you might not have that opportunity to learn about the technical fluency while you are in the job. So how do you do that? Okay, so start with the basic SQL course that I would suggest. Okay, understand how to run a query, how to why this SQL is important also, I'll tell you. Because if you're working in a company like Amazon or Zomato, where there are millions and millions of transactions on a daily basis, you cannot run those things over an Excel file easily, because there are huge transactions and everything. You need to start learning, SQL queries and everything, and pull out the data to the extent it is required. Okay, so that's why I would suggest take a SQL course first, and ensure that you are not spending much over there. You're just learning it for a fun, something like that. Okay, then start read system architecture. As I told, like understand like how Netflix system works in the back end, Amazon systems work in the back end, how Uber systems work in the back end. There are a lot of articles in internet. Go and start learning and understand that. And when you're reading that, dogs, don't read, just read and say that. And when you're reading, you are, if something comes up very technical phrase which you could not understand, go and dive deep on that particular point. So that way you will start developing a sense of understanding on the technical fluencies. Okay. Also understand API conceptually. When I say conceptually, not just, going, watching a YouTube video, going and opening Postman and start doing it. Understand conceptually how API works or how it works. Okay. So if you can if you can start with these basic things, you will gain that understanding of how the technical architecture works, how things are made, and how the decisions or the trade-offs are made while building a system. Okay. Now, for if you're already a developer or a technical folks, you are there. Learn what not to over engineer. Just learn that you don't have to over engineer that. Okay. Next gap is strategic thinking. Now, how do you do that? Okay. So as I told you, right, PM don't execute someone else's roadmap. PM define what goes onto it and why. So PM focus more on why and more defines what goes into that particular product. So how do you do that? If you are into a customer support or if you are into sales, understand the customer problem very deeply. Okay. Once you understand the customer pain points, now just think in your head that if the pain, like suppose you talked with say 20 customers and you found their pain points, everybody will have a different pain points. So what you can do, you can bucketize them into type A, type B of pain points, and then analyze that if type A and type B pain points are there, then how can you strategically make decision to stop them. I'm not saying go and implement in your work. What I'm saying, use these methods to train your thought process. That is important, right? The more you think on these lines, you will start practicing about strategic thinking, and that's way where you will able to, at a certain point in time, when you see a particular ticket or some of the pain points or the customer objections during the sale, you will able to understand where this customer is coming from and how to talk with them or how to handle them. And that's where you will develop yourself. Okay. If you're working more into finance like me and others, you need to understand the business outcome, not the output metrics. What the business is trying to do. There are many situations in my career where we have proceeded. If I think from a finance point perspective, the decisions has been made which were not financially correct. When I say financially, like they are financially correct but they are not bringing profits. And being initially, when I was into finance role, right, something which is not making profit or something which is not giving us a margin, how can we do that? We all think conservatively at that point in time, but that again is an understanding that I learned while transitioning towards product, that not always we should look into profit something, because there are business decisions where the business are willing to take losses to make things happen. Just to give you an example, when Uber launched in India, I believe everyone have seen a hell lot of discounting happening. A trip from point A to point B, which typically charges 200 rupees, you might get it at 50 rupees. Then where that 150 rupees coming from? That goes out from the pocket. So of the businesses, right? So those are strategical decisions, and that's where the strategical thinkings come in play. Okay. So you have to understand that part very much. Okay. You also have to understand the long-term vision and not just this quarter or something. You need to understand from a long-term perspective how this can be. So how to do that? Always ask why minimum 5 times. So for example, why this customer complained on point A? Okay. And you got an answer because point A was not accessible. Why point A was not accessible? Then again an answer, because it is hidden and it is not obvious for the customer to know about it. Why it is not obvious to know? Like this way, like first why, second why, third why, you keep on going asking those questions. And I'm saying these are, whatever I'm saying here is for your practice. Again, I'm quoting here, like you can definitely, if you do this and if you want to talk with your manager about it, talk it in a very casual way. Do not become very confident about and say that if you do this and do that, right? So this is again developing your mindset in a way where you are in your job role and can start developing your mindset. Okay, so learn about jobs to be done, practice strategy docs, read lot of strategy docs, go and google out business strategy doc or Harvard strategy docs, and you will get many of them. If you get some free resources, just go and read, try to understand. And again, same thing, if you don't understand a particular section or the particular point of that article, stop, understand that, google it more, perplexity, do perplexity and understand that particular part more until you understand properly, right? That's how you build the strategic thinking gap. Now, coming to the third is the ownership mind. Now, technical fluency, what I taught you about, that you can do this, you can do that, and same with the strategic thinking. I have also said you can do this, you can do that, right? But again, if you do not have your ownership, or if you do not like that, because nobody is going to question you that whether you know the technicality or whether you don't know the technicality while you are learning, right? Nobody going to talk about how much strategic thinking you are doing based on your work. So if you do not have a ownership mindset, you will not able to perform it for yourself. That is number one. Second, you make the final call after listening to everyone. So you have to understand that it's your ownership to learn these two things, and it's your ownership to influence your manager to think like you. If you have really figured out some pain points which can be resolved in a way, you have data points to prove in your belief, and you want to influence your manager or your skip level manager, please proceed and talk with them, but not force them. Okay, you have to talk in a way or communicate in a way where they can understand where you are coming from. That's what you need to do, right? And if you are able to influence them and they said, okay, great, I understand it, go ahead and implement it. And if they give you the task, then it is your ownership that you will be accountable to accomplish that task, because this is where you grow in your strategic thinking, ownership, and technical fluency. Okay, so just to tell you, in Amazon leadership principle, there is a called a have backbone, disagree, and commit, where you can voice your opinion, but once decided, you also co-own with the other team members. All right. So how to do that? So stop waiting for permission. Your manager will tell, go and deep dive on a pain point, then only you will do. Stop doing that. If you found a pain point and if you really think that this is really need to be fixed, go and do it of your own self. If you get an initiative, own an initiative end to end. Get comfortable with ambiguity. What is ambiguity? Ambiguity means you don't know what will be the next because you are not clear. You cannot see what is happening, right? So get comfortable with it. Okay. So that's how you develop your ownership mindset. So now I have created a quick framework for you all, which is called hash framework. And that document is attached below in the comment section. You can go ahead and download it, and you can sit on a particular weekend or a free time, start writing on the doc the questions that I have asked, and that will actually help you to understand how to make this transition happen. Okay. So what is an hash framework? First, H stand for honest skill assessment. You have to rate yourself on multiple areas. One is the technical understanding, one is the strategic thinking, one is the customer empathy and cross functional influence and data driven decisions. Anything below 6 is your gap, and that doc that I have attached below will help you to find that out. Then you need to understand advantages you already have, which is stands for A. If you're a sales, you can understand customer pain point. You can extract more and more customer pain points and understand. If you're a developer, you have the tech credibility. If you're a developer, then you have a tech credibility. If you're marketing, you know GTM understanding, A/B testing, A/B testing on ads, or performance marketing. Now this is your unique background and this is your unfair advantages. Okay, if you work on this and you make them strong, like how I took finance and keep finance rooted with it, so that's my unique background, and I took that unfair advantage over being in finance. And I never aspired to become a growth PM. I never aspired to become in different kind of I have always worked in the fintech kind of a domain where finance is get valued and they need that niche mindset, right? So that's how I have done. And similarly, you all need to figure that out and take that into your advantages. Then we have the S, which means start acting now as a product manager now. You don't have to get a get into product management, get the title, and think that you are a product manager. Don't do that. In your current role, you will have whatever I talked about: strategic ownership, technical fluency. In your current role, you will definitely have a chance to understand those. So please work on that. Now, what you can do is try to check where the roadmap meetings happen. Does the roadmap meeting happen? How far you are from that? If you're at a very junior level, then obviously you will not able to see those roadmap meetings, and it's absolutely fine. Talk with your manager, understand like what is the 3 months goal or the 4 months goal from now, whatever we are doing, and how can we go ahead and do that 3 months, 4 months journey, right? Then if you are working with a product team, then shadow a product manager, right? Talk to them, build a relationship with them in a way where they also found helpful taking you in loop, right? Try to write user story of your own. You don't need to showcase to your manager, or you don't need to showcase to your leaders that, hey, look how beautiful user stories I have written. Try to write of your own, of your user stories, and the more you try, the more better you get, right? More practice you get. If you are in some areas where you can directly talk with customers, try to conduct customer interviews, try to talk with them, try to go deep into their pain points, try to ask questions in an open-ended way where they can able to answer you better, right? And then analyze matrices. If you are a business analyst or something where you are looking into multiple datas and everything, try to build something from there. So try to understand from the data metrics and everything, right? The only thing that I don't want you all to do, don't wait to quit your job, right? You just, there are many people I have talked who quit the job and say that I will give 6 months of time or 7 months of time to prepare myself as a product manager and then get into product manager. It does not happen, buddy. It does not happen in that way. So you be in a job, try to do and make the transition happen. Okay. Then hiring manager perspective. So now you are looking to move as a product manager. So please note one thing: if the hiring manager does not perceive you as a product manager, you don't get interview calls, you don't get any sitting on the interview table. Okay. So you need to understand what the hiring manager is looking for, what exactly the hiring manager will look for this particular product management role. So in that scenario, you have to showcase your understanding of PM work, prove relevant transferable skills that can be leveraged by the hiring manager as a product manager, and demonstrate PM thinking that you have already. So make it no brainer for the hiring manager to hire you. Okay. Then experience, set realistic goals, right? First PM role likely at startup, right? Try to get into a startup where the typically in startup the founder itself himself is the product manager, right? And if the founder is looking for a product manager, they need more of a executional hands. The strategic thinking will still there with the founder, but you get, if you get into a startup, it will be much easier for you to get into the startup, right? And you able to execute it. So companies in your domain, that's okay, get the foot in the door first. My thought process, wherever you are going, whether you are just doing executions but you are into product owner or an APM, go get into it. Okay. Then derailers to dodge, something which always derails you. What you create a very generic resume and keep on applying jobs, and you say that, hey, I'm not getting any calls. Prestige. Okay, if I do this, what if they tell me that? Trust me, if you think like that, you will not able to do this, you will not able to do this, you will not able to do this, you will not able to do any of this. Ego, prestige. What if I get caught doing this and my manager scolds me? That's a fear. And that fear comes if manager tells something, I feel bad, other people listen, they also feel bad. If you think on that way, you will not able to do it. You will not able to learn it because it's your career. You need to understand that. And you have to get it done. Okay. Waiting to feel ready. This is very important. Oh, I did not apply to the jobs because I don't know if I am the right fit for the product manager or not. I want to study first and then understand what is product, and then I will start. Why you have to do all those thought process in your head? You know yourself, you are not a product manager, you are practicing yourself. And if you have to wait, how long you can wait is the question. So don't do that. Just dodge these derailers, I'm telling you. Okay. And another thing, I will do it of my own. Okay, don't do that. You need to talk with multiple product managers. You need to talk with product owners. You need to talk with product associate product managers. You need to talk with program managers. You need to talk with business analysts to understand how they work, how they operate. Use your social media, LinkedIn platforms and other platforms, groups, WhatsApp groups, everything to talk with people to understand what they do. If you If you try to do everything of your own, you will get lost. But if you talk with these people and they partner with you, you both can do better. Okay. So this is the kind of framework that I have created, which is I call a hash framework. If you follow this well, you are well suited for the product manager. Okay. So here's the 90 days transition plan. You can screenshot it. My thought process is day 1 to 30 foundation, read essential PM books, complete 1 or 2 PM courses of free version, which you can get in my YouTube channel for 2 hours. There is a session to transition, go into that, or figure out more YouTube videos which can help you do that. Understand that, complete that. Okay. Do product tear downs. What is product tear downs? Take one app that you use daily and understand how the why that app works in that way, like when you place the order, how many screens you move ahead and everything. Identify your top 3 skill gaps, work onto it, follow PM thought leaders like I could say Akash Gupta, I would say Shreyas Doshi, then there is Peter Yang, there is Marilanika. Go and follow them in YouTube, in LinkedIn, in X, and just see what they are talking about. And if you could not understand, go and read about it. Okay, that should be your foundation plan. Then build proof. Now, what is this proof is all about? Proof is all about for yourself that yes, you have started preparing. That is the first thing. And then the proof that you can be used to influence hiring manager or your manager that yes, you are interested to move into product and give you an opportunity to talk. So try to write 2 to 3 product case studies, start a side project. Now today's date, there are vibe coding, anything through AI you can develop. Start a side project, build something small, document customer insight, go do research, and and then write, update your LinkedIn about it, join product communities. 61 to 90 days, optimum PM resume, 10 transformational interview you should get, apply 10 to 20 targeted roles, practice PM interviews daily. I'm launching one of the interview prep up AI tool, which will help you all to prepare. Consider one-on-one mentorship that we all do. Like I help people to transition to product manager into one-on-one. So you can join my mentorship program if you want to. So yeah, so this is the 90 days plan that you all should do. Okay. So I hope this gave you the clarity that what you has to do as a product manager. With that being said, right, now that you have understood the transition difficulty metrics, HAST framework, 3 critical gaps that you need to fulfill, you must now start working on it. You should not wait for some fairy tale to come and help you out, right? And as I told you, this transition is not easy. This is the first video that I have made in a very holistic way, capturing all that. And in the next series, I will come up with individual role like developer to product manager, sales to product manager, marketing to product manager, finance to product manager, transition videos. Please watch them and do not miss the working document in the link below, and go download that working document, start writing about it, start preparing yourself. You already have the 90 days and I'm here to help you out. You can reach me over the LinkedIn, Abhik Chaudhary, and also through YouTube videos. I have given my LinkedIn profile in the comments or whatever the YouTube sections we have. You can go ahead and figure it out, and you can reach out to me LinkedIn. I do respond in LinkedIn within 24 hours if you drop me a message. And if not, then go ahead, book one-on-one call with me for one-on-one mentorship from my website, which is upivot.in, and it is there on the link below. So just go and watch it. See you on the next video. Till then, go ahead, download this and start preparing. Thank you.